Good morning, everybody. So today is the third and final judge, Paul Morales, from our festival performance. We're going to be listening to his comments and looking at his judge's sheet. This is the last day of this type of video. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I actually kind of have enjoyed it, even though I miss you guys. So anyway, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into the comments.
Okay, good morning, Lindbergh. My name is Paul Morales from Lee Summit, Missouri. It's a pleasure to get to hear you today. Hope to give you some helpful comments and hear a tremendous performance today. So as soon as the other judges are ready, we'll get going. I have a first observation involving the first violins. Starting off, I noticed bow placement was in mid to upper half on forte passage, and the resulting playing for quite a while was in the upper half, possibly. Consider moving that down into the lower half, being able to draw a full bow on the opening whole note, as well as using more bow, a little stronger bow on the forte section.
The upper to middle half for that first note, first violins. That's out of control, incorrect. It's
a good sound note, to be sure.
Forte. I can't imagine why you would do that. I mean, not to be harsh. But
noticing the retakes on the repeat, same observation. When you retake,
amazing.
Reset, I notice second violins, violas, both resetting near the frog, and first violin's not doing that. Just check. Check where you reset to.
Maybe you guys have some ideas on how I could better communicate to you where to be in the bow, because I feel like I say it, I demonstrate it, I ask you to write it in. If you are looking at a whole note that's forte with an accent, and you're not starting it at the frog,
overall
you've got bigger
pretty
issues.
Nice in terms of the interpretation, musical effect. Not a whole lot to be noticed in terms of intonation. Just be careful when you do get into the minor section. Was hearing some things in there. Watch your D sharps and the A sharps. Overall, though, not bad. Go second violins, dang. Great job.
That return to the eighth notes was too harsh, I think.
Notice some variation in how long notes are held at the ends of phrases. That'd be just a small thing, again, to clean up. so that things are a little more unified in terms of how long quarter notes are held at the end of phrases. First violins, sorry, but it's you. Talking about places like measure 62 into 63 and 67 into 68. Need to try and get together the release of the quarter note.
These types of minor details that we talk about in class, it's not just me being nitpicky. Any musical professional worth their salt is going to notice that kind of stuff, and you're seeing it here with these judges.
On the phrasing, you had some good moments where things were soft. They kind of backed down. Go for even more of that. I know Mozart definitely isn't a bunch of romantic, expressive dynamics, but a little more contrast in those and in those places would be nice.
I think we could have dropped the dynamic.
There, you can probably hear that on the recording
when we were starting the second section.
That's what I'm talking about, and that's really good when you hit back at I guess it was 52, I believe, is one place. And be careful as you progress in the softer section. Be careful that with the rise and fall of the phrase, it doesn't become continuously louder. Bring it back down so that so that 65 becomes something that's more of a panel dynamic.
I'm not sure what he means by panel dynamic, but I think what he's saying is if you get louder, you have to balance
Just a
that.
couple of places where basses sounds like we got a little bit of a disconnect in terms of the subdivision and the speed of it compared to what else is going on. Talking about, where was that? Yeah, in through the territory of 67 to 71 and following. Be careful that your subdivision against the 16th note stays steady and with the conductor.
That cutoff wasn't quite together.
All right. Great job on that. I'm not going to give you a 1 on breathing. I hope that's okay. All right. We'll be, as soon as you're ready, we'll get going again on the second piece.
Sounds like he didn't have his mic on when he started.
Okay, we're into the Grieg. Love the opening. Maybe again, same as with the Mozart, but definitely a different style. Maybe start a little softer and be sure you tail off the end of the phrase to about the volume level of where you were. Try and make a little more contrast between piano and pianissimo. Overall, in the group, pretty great balance.
3 for 3 on comments about the balance. Good comments about the balance, which is kind of a big deal. We got knocked on that last year, if I remember correctly. Upper strings overpowering the lower strings. That might have been more so in chamber because of the numbers, but still, I focused really a lot on that this year, so I'm glad that they noticed.
On the 8th note, this is like super picky, but maybe a little more strong weak on the 8th note pairs in this to give it even a little bit more on the expression. Okay, in the B section, in through 43, you probably hear it on the recording, but some intonation and actually even note problem in there. Watch your accidentals. Everything is higher than you think it is. Oh man, I really like that in there.
Me too.
This section from D to the end, first of all, I don't know that I've actually heard an orchestra do a real forte piano. I want to congratulate you on that.
Wow. And the judge from yesterday felt like it should have been less of a forte piano and more of a rounded, you know what I mean? So there's another example of preference and how it's all subjective. He liked it, this one.
All right, some intonation things in there, but you consider the difficulty level of that line. First violins from B and at D, well done, very well done.
I would say second violins, but
expression on that, musical effect on that for high school groups off the chart. So congratulations on that. All right, we got one more. Looks like. I'll be right with you on that. Okay, really cool effect by not having a conductor.
This could have been softer, I think. That part right there. It was softer than
Carefully, you don't speed up as things get louder.
Yeah. I think we could have done more.
I love how the second violins are all over this. Yeah, be careful. There is still some rushing.
Yeah, through those eighth notes, those up.
Quarter note. Rushing 40.
little aggressive there, seconds.
All right. We'll write the rest of the comments. It won't be that many because that was just a tremendous performance. So proud of you guys and glad I got to hear you today. I have a few more suggestions, but I'll put those on the sheet. Wish you the best for the rest of your school year, and thank you so much for hosting, but also for having us in. Best wishes.
To look at his judge's adjudication sheet. So we got a ton of check marks in the one column, and he did something that sometimes you see with these judges, and he gave us like a separate check mark for each piece. So like, oh dear. So like this first row would be the first piece, second piece, and third piece. So for instance, here on the first one, oh Lord, on intonation, okay, there we go. On intonation, you'll see that we have a check mark for the Mozart, nothing for the second piece, and then for the third piece, a check mark. So that means the Grieg, our second piece, is where he thought the intonation wasn't as good. And I like it when judges do that because it's really easy to see if we didn't get a 1 check where that came in. In this case, it was fairly obvious. I probably could have guessed. Okay, anyway, so everything was check mark in the one column except for intonation on the Grieg and ensemble precision on the Mozart. And I mean, that's yes, all the yes in the world. I think those were our 2 things that if I could change anything, it would be those 2. So nailed it. Okay, fundamental technique comments. It says, solid teaching and musicianship. Pay particular care to exposed parts such as B to D in the Greek, monster tone. I think that's a good thing. And then it says, try to match it with flawless intonation. Yeah, totally. Strengths, tone, exclamation point. And that's all I wrote. And then musical effect comments. It says, expressive and well done. Areas to improve, precision on the Mozart, and accidental intonation. So yeah, I think that he really, like I said, hit the nail on the head. And it was interesting to see the differences between what he said and the other judges. I mean, obviously this whole week has kind of been an exercise in, you know, how is this subjective? What do different professionals pick up on, and what do different professionals like and not like? A lot of the artistic license type of decisions that we make are just that. And, you know, we're kind of going out on a limb and saying, I think that the grace note should be played this way, or I think that the accent should be played this way. And whether or not any other individual human is going to agree with that, you know, it's kind of up to chance. And I think that that's part of the fun of it, quite honestly. So anyway, I hope that going through these has been somewhat enjoyable. I know it has been for me. I know listening to the same thing more or less for 3 days in a row it can be a little boring. But at the end of the day, professional musicians do this. They record themselves and they listen to it again and again and again. And we are so fortunate to have these judges giving us professional feedback. Okay, enough rambling. Tomorrow we're going to go through the sight reading comments, and I'm also going to read out some top comments of the week from both the YouTube channel or the YouTube comments that you guys did and the Google Form submissions. So look forward to that, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.